Staples,
Present.
Mr. LaBeouf, absent, Mr. Blevins,
Here.
Mr. Hall,
Here.
Mr. McMahon,
Here.
Mr. Morrow,
Here.
Mr. Reagan.
Here. We have a quorum and we will begin the official meeting. Public notice was sent out August 5th. And we do have some public here. You're welcome to comment at this time.
No comment. I'm happy to be here and observe. My name is Kathy Simatowski. I own a small business here in town. We serve most of St. Lawrence County and other counties, Whitterby and Wayland. May have heard of us.
Absolutely. For those that haven't, primarily what do you do here?
Precast concrete products, monuments, septic tanks, burial vaults. We employ about 12 people.
Perfect. Appreciate you being here. Anyone else?
Oh, I just introduced myself, Scott Gray, just a pleasure to be here. Just trying to get situational awareness of what's going on up in St. Lawrence County and get to know people. So
Excellent.
she's with my king,
Yeah, my name's Alyssa Perez. I'm just,
so she's my staff.
Excellent. Excellent. We appreciate you being here. Hearing no other further public comment, we'll move on to the minutes of July 6th, 2022. I'll entertain a motion to discuss this. So
Second.
moved by Mr. Morrow, seconded by Mr. McMahon. Any discussion? Hearing none, we will vote to accept the minutes. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? The ayes have it. Kim, do you have a financial report for us?
There are no financial reports this month. We will have them on the next meeting once again.
Committee reports, you want your staff report?
Yeah, we'll go right to that.
So the ARPA program guidelines and the ARPA website are both now available online. We sent out a press release earlier this week that has not received what I would call broad coverage. I don't think we've seen it anywhere yet, but we will. It'll get out there eventually. The website is slcida.com/ARPA, ARPA. That's the American Rescue Plan Act. By way of reminder, the county allocated about $3.5 million to endeavors that we are either administering or overseeing on their behalf. About $500,000 is through the CDLA training at the SUNY Crest Center and the daycare provider training that's also being done in participation with SUNY Canton, the Small Business Development Center. The remaining $2.9 million is allocated amongst a number of categories. Workforce training and development is $900,000. 600,000 of that is for new worker training or existing worker training. So upgrade training, new skills, safety training. There's a real broad way you can deploy the training funds within the ARPA guidelines. Heavy equipment operator training, 150,000. That will be done in participation with BOCES. That's where we've modeled the BOCES student program by day for a night program for adults or other individuals who want to better their skills with heavy equipment operator training. 125,000 for healthcare skills development, which will be a model program that we're going to start with St. Lawrence Health Systems that may be able to also be utilized by other healthcare providers in the county. Facility and Infrastructure Improvement Fund of $1 million. That's up to 50,000 per application. That is a program where we took the ARPA guidelines, which are very specific for what you can and can't do. So the kind of facility improvements that are allowable, you can apply for up to 50,000. Our role at the staff level will be analyzing the applications, making an assessment and a recommendation, and then bringing it ultimately to you for approval. There's going to be some challenges because each application is going to be different case by case. We're going to look at what we have and see, is it allowable? Does it qualify? Is ARPA the right funding source? Are there other ways we can help implement whatever kind of applications are in front of us? Small Business and Nonprofit Assistance Fund, that's 300,000 was allocated up to $10,000 per application as a max. Same thing, there's going to be some analysis of what other funding sources already were used by potential applicants. Is there ways we can match other funding sources. The goal was to try to find a way to reach as many impacted businesses, as many with as much of a broad and hopefully helpful use of the funds that we could come up with. And I know I'll thank Andy and Mark and Jim, who worked on the IDA's behalf with the ARPA committee for the county to create a set of programs that is, I think, targeted enough to fit the ARPA guidelines, but also hopefully broad and we can be creative enough to really do the most good with it right now. There's a remaining $700,000 that is focused on tourism, travel, and hospitality. That is, we are partnering with the Chamber of Commerce on those funds. They are the county's tourism promotion entity. So they are taking the applications for those two programs, and then they will send them to us. We'll then do our analysis and bring that to you for approval. For the time being, we're working on a rolling basis. This is all new. We're trying to figure out what kind of volume there will be. At some point, we may come to you and suggest deadlines for tranches of funding that we may want to use. So we give people opportunity to apply, but ultimately we want to get the money out into the streets and into the businesses and impacted nonprofits. And I say impacted because what is clear within the ARPA guidelines is you have to have an impact, you have to have a response, and you have to make sure it's proportional. So that's kind of the work that we will be doing at the staff level, figuring out how the impact is documented, how the response fits, and then making sure it's proportional.
Is there, please remind me, is there a timeline where we have to get it spent?
The money has to be obligated by the end of 2024 and spent by 2026. And we're working with the county on what the process will be. I suspect we will probably front some of the money and then have a reimbursement process with the county through the ARPA funds that they have on hand.
Our press release didn't specify the CDL training. And I think that
Yep.
because it was outside
Yep.
of what was
Yep.
done.
Yep.
But I was questioned today and said, that's not in there, but it's in there.
We are really at this point administering the 2.9 million. The other two funding sources are more or less standalone.
Okay,
They are all on the website, all of them are covered. So if you go to the website, there is a breakdown of the applications that a business can apply to right now.
right,
And then there are also, if there's not an application like the CDL, there's information about where to go for assistance.
okay,
So the hope is we can direct people to the website, they get the information they need, and then we get into a dialogue.
Right.
And I'll say we may modify applications as we go, but we've tried to make it as simple as possible on applicants, because I don't want somebody doing a 35-page application and finding out they don't qualify. So we've kept everything to 2 or 3 pages, pretty simple, with the idea that it's a process starter where we can then look at, and hopefully it'll be an opportunity to look at what is out there locally, what's out there through the IDA, what's out there through other sources, and find ways to, multiply the benefit from the county's allocation. That's what we're trying to do. And the county received $20.3 million. So this portion of it is about 10%, let's say, of the overall. There's also money that's being allocated for broadband. There's money for water and sewer infrastructure. There's money for some county uses and county capital projects that they're doing. We are focusing solely on the tourism and economic development portion. And then if there's questions about broadband, obviously we can work with the county planning office, but our portion is really that 3.5 million.
but as we get the word out, I think maybe we want to find a way to incorporate the other.
Oh, yeah, and we are having
Drive
CDLA,
traffic to it.
yep, we're having CDLA discussions every day.
Right,
They have a class that starts August 25th. It's already booked. And that's really starting to get some legs under it and take off on its own. And there's a daycare provider training presentation this evening, and that's starting to get some interest. So it's we're gonna be pushing out on all different aspects of the program.
So the CDL, how many people have been through that program since it started? You know?
Probably up to about 30 at this point. And they're doing them in groups of 4 to 6.
Okay.
And
When did we first put money in? Is that 2 years ago?
oh, yeah, the River Valley Agency provided funding for the tractor. That was a 2018 award.
Oh, wow.
Or 2019.
18 or 19.
And then we received funding from the USDA, and that's what this ARPA allocation is modeled on. We received $60,000 from the USDA to assist with the training costs, and it's about $6,200
They're able
for
to
the
do
cost.
14.
What's that?
We were able to do 14
Yeah,
participants.
we did 14 individuals. What we're doing is same process. Somebody comes to us,
Yeah.
I'm interested in CDLA. We partner with the One Stop Career Center. We try and figure out, you know, if we have a finite amount of money and there's other funds that they can utilize as well, we're trying to supplement it. So if it's 6,250 and we can find $3,000 of WIOA money, then we'll match it with the 3,200 to make the difference as opposed
So
to,
we're covering the full.
yeah, we're trying to, yes.
Some of the participants had some money that they had available to use, so we break it down as best we can to spread it as far as we could.
What we told the USDA, we were targeting,
I think it was eight to 10, and we well exceeded that, and we had some employers that contributed. We had WIOA, we had individuals, we had parents that contributed. We had a lot of different sources of funding, so we were able to do more.
Patrick, does that money have to be spent by 2026 or do you have all of 2026?
December of 2026.
Okay. Fine.
Again, slcida.com/ARPA. If anybody's asking you about it, send them to us or come go to the IDA website, but we're talking with people about it. Any other ARPA related questions? Marketing, we were at the Messina Mega Reunion this past weekend. I say we, Bob was at the Messina Mega Reunion this past weekend. Had some good conversations. You may hear there's some ads we're running right now on the radio stations about if you're home for the summer visiting, think about moving back permanently. We're trying to push the comeback here market. Have some trade shows slated for this fall in Canada. We are getting back into, it is becoming more and more normal. We have more and more inquiries. The challenges are still like everywhere in Fermi Savings workforce. That's why so much of that funding was allocated for workforce. Regular meeting schedule. We reached out to people about setting up a day and time. The good news is there is a breadth of responses and flexibilities, morning, afternoon. This is the most public we've had, I think, in a meeting in a long time. So maybe meeting in the afternoons may be better. We will follow up with some suggestions. We have some people who certain days work for where others don't. I think once we get to let's book it in the calendar, it'll be easier, but we're not quite there yet. And I do think we're probably going to need a meeting next week for some projects that we're working on as well, just as a early heads up. Work on the roof was completed. We did some repair work on the roof for this building. We are, Rich, in October is when the lights will be replaced out here.
Yes,
And
long lead time.
yes, we're getting higher efficiency,
We actually have the light heads
waiting for,
provided by National Grid. Great program. So waiting on replacement poles and then the rest of the bulbs further around the perimeter of the building. So the ship date I know is September 29th. So looking at early October,
and the parking lot will be redone.
probably the next couple of weeks.
Okay, perfect. That is it for your IDA staff report.
All right, thank you. No old business, no new business, the IDA?
Correct.
Asking you a question. As long as there isn't, do we have a need for executive session?
We do not for the IDA.
Then we're down to adjournment.
I will make that motion.
Thank you. Second, The IDA is adjourned. Everyone have a roll call of St. Lawrence County.
Hold on, we gotta,
Gotta switch over.
you are well faster than our technology.